Twilight Princess is a special game in the franchise. Being the next game after Wind Waker, Nintendo wanted to show that they could do a more mature Zelda game. Wind Waker, though a great game in its own right, was viewed as being too childish for a Western audience, which, wasn't true, but nonetheless Nintendo set out to rectify this with Twilight Princess. Gone were Wind Waker's bright and colorful designs in favor of a darker tone and more anime-inspired designs. The game even got a teen rating. But Nintendo, being Nintendo, didn't stop there. No, they created what I think is one of the best storylines in a Zelda game. Each Zelda game for the most part follows the same template, the hero's journey. The reluctant hero gets a call to adventure, he's aided by some mysterious mentor, and eventually the hero completes his goal and returns home forever changed. You see, there's an overarching theme in Twilight Princess: failure and redemption. In the beginning of the game, Link is this lighthearted and carefree kid, but then he fails to stop his friends from being kidnapped and gets captured himself and develops PTSD, I would assume. This changes Link's story, one of the few times where the hero is rendered helpless himself and needs saving. He's not just a reluctant hero going on a journey to save someone or claim some magic MacGuffin. Instead, his initial motivation is to save himself. Afterwards, Link returns back to his village to see the aftermath of his perceived failure. This part of the game is fairly unique. Not the people getting kidnapped, that happens a lot in video games, but what I'm talking about is the way that is depicted. You get to see the repercussions of the people going missing. And yes, before you say anything, Wind Waker, we see Link's grandmother being a sad potato. But the characters aren't just sad, they're broken. You can see a wide variety of emotions: sadness, anxiety, and anger. One of them is even willing to go risk their life to go get the kids back despite being injured. But it's up to Link and you as the player. This perspective gives you a new insight into Link's motivation. It's not just about going on a quest, it's about redeeming yourself and helping these families. Twilight Princess allows you to get an almost voyeuristic view of its characters, but it's not the sexy kind, it's more of the sadness and guilt-inducing kind. Instead of having them talk directly to you, you get to see them talk and interact with each other. This allows you to better understand their motivations. The characters and their motivations are crucial in the story. Twilight Princess allows its characters to be flawed, and oh boy are they flawed. Link isn't the only one struggling with failure here. Midna, Link's companion throughout the game, is dealing with the burden of letting her kingdom down and allowing Zant to take over. And Zelda is dealing with the fact that she let her kingdom down and allowed Zant to take over. I can't tell if they're just really bad at their job or if Zant is just really good at his. And then there's my man, the hero Shade, who's described by the Hyrule Historia as the hero of time from the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask that died lamenting that he was never remembered as a hero, as well as not passing down his skills to the next generation. And it doesn't stop there. You're constantly running into characters who are afraid or don't think they're strong enough. This makes the story and the characters far more relatable because they're all fighting a tangible evil: failure and regret. This makes the characters flawed, but also allows us to sympathize with them easier. Because at the end of the day, whether it's feeling like you've let down your friends or family, unrequited love, blaming yourself for something you did or didn't do, or failing at your responsibility, we've all felt these feelings, so there's probably someone here you can relate to. Twilight Princess even gives its side characters some development. The obvious one here is Midna as she goes on her road to save her kingdom. Her character arc is probably the most well developed in the game. She goes from only being out for herself and her people to genuinely caring about the people of Hyrule and wanting to help both worlds. Aside from that, you have characters like Colin as he goes from this cowardly kid lacking any confidence and doubting himself to actually standing up and saving his friend's life. And the list continues. You even have this weird baby man thing opening his own store, who, side note, is the best character in the game. Don't at me. If he was real, he would probably have his own TikTok where he would talk about entrepreneurship, and he would probably say things like blockchain is the future, but the cryptocurrency bubble is probably going to burst. But anyways, my point is the game tries to work in some sort of character development with almost all of its characters, and it helps suck you in. Now, don't get me wrong, the Breath of the Wild is amazing, and I love the voice actor cutscenes. However, you don't really get to know the characters that well. They're a bit tropey. Urbosa is strong, Wavali is Falco, Mipha is in love with Link, and Daruk is a gentle giant. Beyond that, you don't really know too much about any of them. The one character they do extremely well here is Zelda and her development, which admittedly is amazing to behold because you get to see her flaws and get to see her triumph. Yeah, see, sensing a theme here? But in Twilight Princess, you have Midna's story plus everyone else's, which helps make the world feel much more alive. And apart from the characters, the story just hits different. The part where you find out the fuse shadow won't work is very vicious for a Zelda game, and for Nintendo in general if we're gonna be serious about it. Link is cursed to stay a wolf forever, and Midna is critically wounded. And eventually, when you save Midna, you're led to believe it comes at the cost of Zelda's life. And this game goes to some dark places, and it doesn't sugarcoat anything. When you mess up, the game will let you know, whether you're supposed to fail because of the story or because you messed up because you suck at playing the game. Prime example is when you're escorting Prince Rallis to the Kakariko village. You have to keep the carriage he's in safe. If it catches on fire, you have to put it out using the Gale Boomerang. But if you mess up and don't get it in time, you fail the mission and have to watch as the wagon slowly burns as the inhabitants scream out in fear and in pain for the last time. Don't know why they didn't jump out, but for whatever reason, they're dead now, and it's your fault. The fuck, Nintendo. And lastly, there's subtext. Now, each person that played the game may take away something different, but me, back in 2006, I had a big head and a long neck, people called me Lightbulb, and what I took away from it was this. Link is a kid who is suddenly thrown into a world he doesn't understand, where his choices have grave consequences for himself and those around him. And what better analogy is there for growing up? Think right now, some of the best knowledge you have to give probably comes from learning from a mistake you made. Growing up isn't easy. You spend this huge part of your life as a kid and then suddenly, bam, you're an adult and you don't have a training manual. You don't know what you're doing and you make a lot of mistakes along the way because none of us have a Gandalf to guide us. Unless you did, then good for you. Humble brag. But most of us just have a person that made a lot more mistakes than us trying to keep us from doing the same thing. Because that's what an adult is. A person who made a whole lot of mistakes and learned how to deal with them. And there are a lot of characters like that in the game. This helps the characters feel far more three-dimensional, but also helps Nintendo paint a bigger picture. That it's okay to fail and make mistakes. Not only is it okay, it's also necessary. Link's and Midna's story is about redemption, about making mistakes, but not allowing yourself to be defined by those mistakes, but rather by how you fix them. Because failure and mistakes are unavoidable, but you have a choice to be better. To quote famous philosopher Albus Dumbledore, some people are born into greatness, while others have it thrust upon them and find that they wear it well. Just because you've made a mistake doesn't mean you've lost your opportunity to be great. Ultimately, what Twilight Princess teaches us about failure through its story and characters is that failure is a part of life. It's a part of growing up, but if we're willing to rectify those mistakes, the road to redemption can lead us to being a hero, or just a better version of the person we were.